outside Egypt that are having knowledge and experience that benefit the whole world. And our surprise today that you are able to ask questions in the comments, and we will be asking them to our guests and give you response. Our first session today will be entitled Edge Computing, an information technology platform for accelerated innovation. And will help us speak about this topic today, the Mr. and Engineer of Engineering Technology, Adel Pierre Luca. Hello, Mr. Pierre, how are you doing?
Hello, good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to be here and speak with you.
It's an honor for us that you're with us today.
Thank you.
Start and ask you, what does the word edge mean?
Sure. The edge computing is really something that is very, very popular right now. You can hear edge technology, edge everywhere, but really what it means. The edge computing is a distributed computed framework that bring enterprise application closer to the data source. So, for example, if you have devices that they are collecting information, the local edge server is connected to these devices and can really stay close to the data. So, edge is basically going to change the way we're doing computing. In the past, we went to a centralized architecture. This centralized architecture normally is a data center or in the cloud. And now with Edge, we move into thousands of locations where the data are produced. So if we think about the Edge, why Edge is important is because the explosion of the data that we create at the Edge. So the data are created in certain place and normally they move to other place. But if we want to get inside to the data, if we want to take action immediately to the data, we need to do that at the edge where the data are produced. So there is data gravity, what we call data gravity in our computer world. Data gravity is very important since the data need to be analyzed and the data they have value where they've been created. If you think at a graphic, you can see the data are very, very important at the beginning, and then they start the life cycle of the data started to descend until you get to back and all of these. So the edge is really to bring the compute power, the ability to have new application, AI, ML inside to the edge where the data are created.
Okay, now the edge technology is very important and used in many locations. Can you give us some examples of how companies are really using the edge technology today?
Absolutely. So I can give you a couple of use cases of edge technology. All of us obviously knows about autonomous vehicle. If you think about that, autonomous vehicles are really the forefront of the edge technology. You collect the data on the car. You need to analyze those data immediately because you need to take action over there. So that's a great example, for example, of where the industry of automotive is going. But not only that, think about all the data that a car collects and it needs to be used to train, to make training model. For example, if you guys don't know, one of the most difficult things for doing when you have a autonomous vehicle is to recognize things like a plastic bag versus being an animal or something that is crossing the street. So that's require a lot of teaching, a lot of data to be processed at the edge. But other things in any field of the industrial as well, there is edge and IoT. Remote monitor of assets, for example, oil and gas industry, they use this. For example, when you have a oil rig and you have a flame, you actually use camera to analyze what that flame is composed by. So you can report to the environmental agency, for example, here in US, if that flame contained the right amount of non-toxic things. So all of that is edge, because that camera that look at the flame in real time need to process those data, and there is an algorithm and a compute over there in an oil rig that is not exactly the best data center. So that's why also the edge from an hardware point of view needs to be built with certain specification to release, for example, at very intense temperature and very, very intense power.
Okay, now you told us about today of the present. What about the future for using the cases of edge technology?
Well, we see more and more a conversion of the edge. So when we say edge, we say a conversion of IoT and IT. So what we say with the IoT is basically all these sensor devices that you have, all of us, we have in our homes today. If you think, for example, today at our homes, we have a smart thermostat, we have camera, we have a security camera, we have Wi-Fi, all of that, the composition of all these smart devices that before was called IoT. So those devices, normally they are connected to a cloud. But what's happening today, because the amount of data, we think that by 2022, 75% of the data that will be created at the edge. And so those data, they cannot be sent to the cloud and processed to the cloud. So what is happening there, the future is really to bring that power, that compute, close and near where the data are produced. So as Dell Technology and other company, we are very invested in providing the infrastructure to be able to do that with a specialized line of compute, with a specialized line of storage, but also with the technology like AI ML. The other things, the future is you go into a stream place where maybe there is no NIT personnel trained for doing that. So all of these devices, they need to be simple, reliable, and be able to come up without human intervention. So that's another forefront, and especially in extreme climate where you send something, for example, and also in the industry of defense, you need to be able to bring up this device, know where the devices are, how you manage this fleet of devices. As we said, you can have thousands of sensors, you can have gateways that they collect the information from this, and you have also thousands, if you have 100,000 sensors, you have thousands of gateways that they collect this information. And so the challenge there is to make sure that this gateway, they can be come up by their own, they can be secure. So security is another big aspect of the edge and end-to-end security, because with thousands of locations and moving from a centralized location, then you have a lot of prone to intrusion. So end-to-end security at the edge is also another important thing. So new compute, to summarize, that can resist to very unfavorable conditions, but also outside of the data center, the normal data center. Security, model of security that they are more intrinsic to the hardware, but that can expand to the application, and also the ability to have manage of thousands of devices.
Okay, now like any other technology or any other job, it requires a skill. What are the skills required for edge computing?
So the skill required, obviously, the skill required for the edge and the edge area are even from the hardware point of view to the application point of view. So if you look at the today manufacturing space, for example, there are a lot of legacy applications. So the new development, they need to enter, take these applications, transform them, for example, in containerized architecture. And virtualization is another big thing. So we are moving, for example, in manufacturing from PLC that were connected to the machine and not connected to the internet, to all of these things connected through the network. So it's very important to having the skill to understand how you take the old brownfield and bring to a new era. And so virtualization, containerization, be able to connect and create new application that will be developed in the cloud, but then transport to the edge. It's a fundamental skill for all the people that they want to work in the edge.
Okay. Now, of course, the edge term is different from other terms. Why is it specifically different from the internet?
Sorry, I didn't list. Can you repeat?
Yes. How and why is edge different from the IoT, the Internet of Things?
Yeah, the IoT, as I explained before, the IoT was basically have a sensor, a device that they are connected directly to the cloud, and because the difference is edge is the combination of IT and OT together and bringing the compute to the edge. So if I take an example, for example, if you have a solar system, normally you can monitor that solar system entering the cloud portal. That solar system normally sends every 15 or half an hour your sample of how much energy you produce. That is not a real time. So what is needed at the edge in these days is to really get to the real-time ability. So that's require you to have a huge compute power with GPU and other things at the edge to be able to process these things, including AI ML. It's a fundamental things on top of this. So what is enabled this hardware infrastructure? Why required to have so much power? Because normally you need to process this data for AI ML. One of the use cases is, for example, what is called in the industry computer vision. Computer vision, imagine that you have a line in manufacturing where you produce thousands of boards, of electronic boards, and you need to understand where is the defect. What is happening there, you have a camera on top that you take a picture for every circuit that has been produced. 99% of those pictures, they've been, but they get analyzed over immediately on the site. So you need a lot of power, GPU power, to process those images and see that you don't have any defect. When you discover the defect, then that image, out of the 100 image, that one image that you have that you want to keep because there is a defect, you send that to the cloud. But all the 99 image that you take, they need to process immediately. And you need to have a way to say very quickly if they are good or bad, so if the piece is good or bad. That's a clear example where edge IoT comes with IT. And by the way, IT comes in place with the IoT when you need also the connectivity. With the explosion of 5G and private network, very important that you have the right infrastructure to be able to do that. So it's in the era of edge in this year, next year, and the year to come, you're gonna see more and more IT converge with OT.
Okay, now let's move to the advantage and benefits. How does edge computing provide a competitive advantage for each company?
Absolutely. This is really, the edge is a very interesting place because it's not the traditional IT, it's not the OT. The people, they buy outcome. What is mean? The outcome is to have a competitive advantage. The outcome is, for example, predictive maintenance. So if I have a manufacturing and I have 20, 30 different equipment, and I can predict when that equipment is gonna fail, and I give that predictive maintenance, I'm gonna get an advantage versus someone that doesn't have a smart manufacturing, because I produce, I can the downtime of the equipment based on the sensor that I get and the data I process over there. Another advantage is, for example, air gap insulation. We have a customer in customer of Dell, for example, that they doing everything in the manufacturing. They are not connected outside of the manufacturing. So security is paramount. Why they doing that? Because they have an advantage versus the competitor in the market. So there is a security. So the opportunity is in security. The opportunity is in connectivity. The opportunity is boosting the productivity. Other example, as I just said, optimize the life cycle of the equipment. Be able to have less human intervention and more autonomous ability to have an infrastructure that connect and run the entire edge.
Okay, now we have talked about the opportunities, and also startups are always looking for opportunities. How and what are the market opportunities for startups, and how can they make an impact?
Yeah, I think this is a great question because here in this forum, obviously, we have a lot of people that listening from a startup point of view. The opportunity for startup at the edge is incredible in the sense that I just say 75% of all the data will be produced at the edge. And what is needed at the edge is the real time, is the ability to do AI ML, for example, in real time. So investing in technology and investing in application that they can do that, investing in a way to keep the data at the edge. So the most costly things to move data to be processed in another place. So one of the area where there is a lot of investigation is how I keep those data at the edge, on the edge devices, but be able to do distributed query, be able to do AI very light algorithm that allow us to process the data very quickly without need to go to a cloud and spend a lot of time there. So artificial intelligence, automation, and sophisticated light algorithm for doing that kind of detection are very important, and that's an area where the startup world is very excited, and a lot of startups that they coming up about this. So my recommendation is look in those areas because with the expansion of the data and be able to give the insight to the data that they see on the edge will be expanding the number of use cases that we can create there.
Okay, now let's move specifically to Dell. How is Dell Technologies dealing with all this?
Yeah, technology, obviously, I'm representing Dell Edge Enterprise Group. In our Edge Enterprise Group, we have a very deep understanding of the edge. And what we're doing a couple of things. One, we have, if you guys don't know, Dell Technology has one of the best and expanded portfolio in the world in covering most from the edge to the data center to all the infrastructure that you can think from laptop going up to the data center and the private cloud. So what we're doing, we are very present in the edge. We sell a lot of infrastructure for the edge. We have very specific hardware compute that can be deployed at the edge. As I mentioned, some of with extreme temperature, some for very particular use case. We have micro data center as well. We're working with all the big other company to make sure that we can provide the necessary power and infrastructure for the edge. We are looking also to offer an end-to-end experience to our customer. So working in conjunction with partner, OT vendor, ISV vendor, we want to really offer the best infrastructure, autonomous infrastructure in the world that will allow to deploy, as I said, edge devices with a very simple things without the need to have people with the IT knowledge. And our portfolio is strong. You're gonna see that we're gonna invest more and more in the edge. Edge is one of our top priority, not only for this year but to the years to come. And Edge for Dell is a fundamental things to solve the problem of our customers. We want to meet the customer where they are, so Edge will be a very big place where our customer will go in the near future.
Thank you so much, Mr. Roberto, for being with us today.
Thank you.
Now, we have reached the finality of our first session, and we hope that you have benefited from this new technology of edge computing and how to use data for your startup. We'll be taking a break for a few minutes and we'll be back again to you. Now we're back from our break. And unfortunately, according to some problems in hearing us, we have rescheduled our next session, Mr. Roberto Cruci, to another episode. Thank you for watching today, and wait us next Friday and Saturday at 8 o'clock live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on LinkedIn. Thank you for watching. Have a good night.